Okay, so I just need to get this out of here. So I was at Walmart, obviously. Oh, no, I was at Walmart, and I noticed that a lot of the toy sections were just weirdly sorted. Like, they had just weird. It was weirdly sorted. What basically my I guess soapbox for the day is that gender-specific marketing is really, really stupid. And let me elaborate on this. And yeah, I know we've been raised to think like blue is for boys, pink is for girls, whatever. It's a stupid mentality because colors are just colors. Colors are just scientific refractions of light that occur naturally. How it got associated with different genders, I don't know. And it's just silly. So, I really love the Disney Descendants movies. So I try to go out and find merchandise for it, but all the merchandise for it is in the girls section. And if I try to find, and by the way, t-shirts for it for boys, non-existent. Like, I searched, I went online, I went to Walmart.com, I went to Target.com, I went everywhere. Only the girls section had shirts for Descendants, which is silly. And this happened when I was into High School Musical as well, because that came out when I was like 8. And I was really into that franchise as well, but I couldn't find anything for it because, well, it's targeted as girls. And yeah, I know it's the target audience. That's who they're going to try and get the most money. But it's dumb. And obviously they were trying to get the boy audience because they put pirates in the second Descendants movie. Because you have Harry Hook and you have Gilson. So obviously they're trying to get the boy audience somewhere. The first one could be argued, maybe it is for girls. It is a little bit girl because it's kind of a romance movie. But the second one could potentially be, it's for all ages. Disney's for all ages, for all genders, so it doesn't really make sense. And you would think that Disney, whose sole purpose is to make money, is alienating half their audience. That's revenue that they're losing out on, You're only going to sell to girls. Well, then what about the boys? That's more money that you could be getting from the male audience. And, Ashley Eckstein was really smart with this, because when she came out with the Her Universe line, it was just exclusively for females. And then it's just been announced, a year ago that it's going to be rebranded later this year as Our Universe. And that's really smart. And sometimes it's just really silly what they do. Like, there was this big controversy a few years ago. Let me look this up real quick. The pen line Bic released a line of pens called Bic for Her. Yeah, they released, gender-specific pens. So obviously, this was going to get a lot of backlash, and a lot of the reviews were really, really snarky. Like, one of these says, "Finally, for years I've had to rely on pencils, or at worst a twig, and some drops of my feminine blood to write down recipes. I had despaired of ever being able to write down said recipes in a permanent manner, though my menfolk assured me that I shouldn't worry your pretty little head. But at last, Bic, the great liberator, has released a womanly pen that my gentle baby hands can use without fear of unladylike calluses and bruises. Thank you, Bic." Yeah, one male responding to reaction writing, "Men don't stand for this. Aren't there enough products specific to women already?" Yeah, so anyway, clearly, Bic got a lot of backlash, and it's stupid. And the Bic for Her was like purple and pink, feminine colors, which again, absolutely ridiculous. And it's a little bit like that. And sometimes the gender marketing completely misses the point. Like, I remember when the Hunger Games movies were coming out, Nerf came out with a line called Nerf Rebel. And I wish I could show pictures here, but I can't figure out how to insert pictures into the video yet because I'm not that professional. But if you Google the pictures, you can see it's a bow and arrow, but it's pink. Now, again, this was coming out around the time that the Hunger Games movies were coming out. And obviously, they were trying to get in on that. But it's hilarious to me because it was colored like pink. And if you've actually read the Hunger Games or seen the movie Hunger Games, you know that Katniss is not really considered traditionally feminine. So even when she's wearing the dress, it's like fire dress. It's like the opposite of that. So I just found it funny that they didn't really understand what was going on with this. Yeah, it's a silly thing. And there's a video on YouTube from Channel Awesome from Doug Walker. He was doing, it was one of his commercial specials. I forget which one, but I remember, he was doing the Easy Bake Oven, and he said, "Oh yeah, well, there isn't a boy toy that's even remotely close to this." And it shows the Creepy Crawler Super Oven, and yeah, it's the same thing, except instead of making food, you make little plastic bugs and stuff like that. He goes, oh yeah, well ours was different. We couldn't eat ours and live. You know, I mean, anything boys' toys or just girls' toys painted a different color and given less options. And yeah, it is. It's just silly. And, you know, it's not the first time that Disney has done this, because when Princess and the Frog was coming out in 2009, they realized, or I guess their logic was, boys aren't going to see a movie that says princess in it, even though there's The Princess Bride, and a lot of boys that I know actually really like that movie. So, you know, obviously they're like, okay, well, we're doing Rapunzel, and so we're going to change that to Tangled to make it gender neutral. And then they did that to, like, the Snow Queen, and they changed it to Frozen. And the irony is Frozen is not gender neutral, because that one is specifically for girls. I don't really think there are any boys out there that like the movie. I personally don't, anyway. But I like Tangled, though. I thought Flynn was that's a good example. They could have used Flynn for the marketing for the boys, but I don't recall seeing any marketing for Frozen for boys, like, at all. Even after the movie came out, even still to this day, I still think Frozen's audience is just girls, so I don't know why they even bothered gender neutralizing the title. They should have just call it The Snow Queen. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I hope that one day marketing teams, and it's not Walmart's fault. I'm not saying that Walmart is at fault for putting the Descendants dolls in the girls section, because they just do what the manufacturers tell them to do, I'd assume. But I want to live in a world where the manufacturers can say, we're not going to do gender-specific aisles anymore. I mean, clothing I understand, because girls' bodies and boys' bodies are different. The clothes are going to fit differently. That's fine. But I'm talking about toys. I'm talking about toys and other merchandise like that. I dream a day where we can have Star Wars. And by the way, Star Wars is in the boy aisle, by the way. Even though if you've paid attention to Star Wars during, like, the last, like, 2015 when Force Awakens was coming out, they're obviously trying to push that whole, like, girl power thing, which I have no problem with. But it's weird that even despite that, they're still marketing it wrong. Like, the blue lightsaber now, which was Anakin and that was Luke, it's now being marketed as Rey's lightsaber, and so that makes me think that nobody has ever seen the movie once. And I get why they're marketing it as Rey's lightsaber, because she's the new heroine, but it doesn't make sense to me. And they also have the exact same lightsaber, but it's labeled Obi-Wan. But if you try to find one that says Luke or Anakin, it's not going to be there. It's just going to be marketed as Rey now. And that doesn't make sense to me at all. But I mean, and again, it's not like they're not dividing the Star Wars toys into the girl aisle either. It's all in the boy aisle, despite the fact that if you go to the Star Wars toy aisle, at least at my Walmart, it's mostly for girl stuff. And again, that's fine. I mean, Star Wars is for everyone as well. I'm totally fine with, you know, the whole, like, girl power thing. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not saying that they should stop doing that. But what I'm talking about is, like, when you go to the girl, there's stuff like, you know, My Little Pony, even though there's bronies. That doesn't make sense at all. And so, my point here, they need to stop with gender-specific marketing with the aisles for toys. What I'm saying is that they need to put Transformers and Strawberry Shortcake on the same aisle. They need to put G.I. Joe and My Little Pony on the same aisle. You know, and even, I'm going to refer to that one scene in Toy Story 2 where they're like, we've been down this aisle already. We've never been down this aisle. It's pink. You know, they need to stop doing that, because toys are just toys. I mean, it's not like, you know, say I want to get the Descendants doll, because I saw one and I want to get the Eevee doll, okay? I'm not going to get it yet, because it's still a little bit more than I want to pay for it. I'm not paying $20 for it. Although I went there today and it was like $15, so the price is dropping. So I'm sure eventually I'll get it, but, you know, say I go to the cashier. The cashier's not going to go, oh, well, you're a guy. I'm not going to sell this to you. That's not going to happen. So why is Disney doing that? Why are they saying, well, if you're a boy, you're not allowed to like the Descendants movies, or at least we're not going to market it to you? Again, they can't stop me from buying these dolls. They can't stop me from buying them. I'm still going to buy them. Or at least the Eevee one, because I don't really like Mal or Ben that much, and those are only two other options that they had. But, you know, I'm still going to buy that toy eventually, but I'm talking about shirts. I want t-shirts of the franchise. I want school supply folders that don't look super frilly and girly. I want party supplies that look super frilly and girly. So, yeah, and not even just for this, but just any movie in the future. I don't know what their next princess movie is. But when that one comes out, they need to market it to both genders, I guess. Because in the long run, everybody wins, because the male audience that they do have will be able to buy merchandise meaning they will also get more money than they would otherwise. There's no downside to this. So anyway, I think, it's not just Walmart, it's also Target and Toys R Us back in their business. It's been going on for too long. It's silly. I mean, especially the liberal left, they're always pushing the gender is whatever you feel agenda, which I think is personally really stupid and ridiculous. But I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but it is. But, since they're doing that, you think that companies would try to pander to the left. Since more and more companies are pandering to the left, you think they would go, yeah, it is. Let's stop with dividing toy aisles by gender. They're pieces of plastic. Inanimate objects. They're not going to care what person buys them, nor will the store, because the store is still getting the money. It's weird. Anyway, they need to stop with it. All right. Rant over.